My name's Gaul, G-A-U-L, first name Lewis. People call me Lewis. The war started in 1939, okay? I was born in 1929, so I was 10 years old when the war began. It began in Europe with a fellow named Hitler invaded Poland. And that was in the summer of 1939. My mother's adoptive parents were German immigrants. And Hitler, believe it or not, was actually making speeches that were broadcast internationally in German. And both my mother and her adoptive mother were able to translate what Hitler was saying. And Hitler, of course, was probably the most potent personality involved in World War II. And the fascists happened to win politically, and Hitler became the chancellor, which was the German term for leader, in 1933. Hitler didn't make any secret of the fact that he felt the German state needed, quote, Lebensraum, or living room, additional room. And that Germany was going to have to grow by virtue of taking over nearby territory. The Japanese, like the Germans, felt hemmed in and in need of expansion. And they were a tiny nation confined to a few islands and jammed with population, needing resources, like Hitler, needing room to grow. And they chose to attack the United States. Big Sunday morning, December 7th. And we heard about it over the radio. The time differential between the time zone where Hawaii was and where we were here in Pittsburgh was such that we found out about it the next morning, which would have been December the 8th, by radio. We were immediately put on a war footing when it came to basic things like food. Rationing came into play. Certain commodities were very, very scarce. Meat, for example, you've got a certain allocation of food stamps, not food stamps like you think of it as a substitute for money. The food stamps were used to claim what was considered a typical family's need for beef, for chicken, for fish, etc. The other ration commodities primarily were things like gasoline. You got an allotment. You might find this interesting. The typical family was permitted 3 gallons of gas a week. So if you wanted to take any kind of a trip, you had to save up your gas coupons maybe for a month so that you could go see grandma out in Ohio. The women of the country started seeking employment in war production businesses, whether it was making airplanes. So the term Rosie the Riveter came to exist because Rosie was over there in the airplane factory riveting parts together for an airplane. There was only one fellow in our high school senior class who actually did enlist and went on active duty with the Navy, came back home in 1948 and graduated with that year's graduating class. He saw some explosions within a short distance of his vessel. He probably served a total of 3 years in the Navy. The war ended abruptly with the defeat of Japan as a result of atomic explosion. 2 cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. For a lot of young people, it's so far back, it's so dusty a remembrance that to you it has little or no meaning. I guess for our generation and the generations in between then and now and your generation, the potency of that era has faded, and it's no longer at the forefront of your mind. You kids don't even think about it, and rightfully so. The way of life that we adhere to as a nation was able to defeat not only fascism, but some of the other isms, like communism.